Xenoblade 2's long-awaited Switch 2 upgrade is almost here. And while we already know some of the new features, there's still a lot of questions about what else could be added. There's also a few things that have me a bit worried, starting with what's already confirmed. We're finally getting a 4K 60 FPS upscale, a brand new mode that lets you directly control blades in action-style battles, along with a new rare blade and its own blade quest. Beyond the confirmed additions, there's still plenty of things that we can see in the upgrade. Comment what you hope to see in Xenoblade 2. Starting with multiple save files, this is honestly the thing that I'm hoping for the most. It's really disappointing that Xenoblade 2 only gives us a single save slot. Meanwhile, all the other games give us a few, even the original Xenoblade 1 on the Wii. Most people would absolutely love having multiple save slots, whether it's to save a file on their favorite part of the game, or maybe they're sharing a console and want to keep save files separate. Multiple save slots would make replaying the game so much more convenient. Maybe you want to start over without doing a new game plus. Honestly, this might be one of the most requested quality of life features in the entire game. I really hope we get it. Another improvement I'd like to see is better lip syncing. This is an area where Xenoblade 2 is slightly behind compared to other games. The lip movements don't always perfectly match the voice acting. This is very noticeable on Zeke especially. I mean, it's not too bad, but having this fix would make it much more immersive, especially during emotional scenes. It is a bit distracting to some people. Considering how much Xenoblade 3 improved facial animations and lip syncing, this feels like one of the most realistic improvements that we might be able to see. On the topic of cutscenes, let's also talk about audio mixing. If you played Xenoblade 2, you've probably experienced at least one cutscene where the music is much louder than the voices. Again, especially in these emotional cutscenes where characters speak a little quieter. It makes it really hard to hear sometimes. Of course, for gameplay, you can lower the music volume, but currently you cannot for cutscenes. The soundtrack is absolutely beautiful, but there are scenes where the balance needs to be improved. They could either fix this altogether or have an option for every user to slightly lower the audio exactly to where they want it. I think the latter might be a better option in case some people like it the way it is, while others can change it the way that they want to. It's a relatively small change, but it would make some of the game's most important moments much easier to follow. Now let's talk about one of Xenoblade 2's most controversial features, the Blade Gacha system. Now this is something I don't think they will touch, but I would really appreciate if they did. Pulling a rare blade can be exciting. However, the chances of getting certain rare blades can be absolutely brutal. Perhaps they could increase the chance of getting better rare blades, at least on New Game Plus. Most gacha games are free to play and make money from pulls. Xenoblade 2 is a full-priced game, so I think the rate should be a little bit more generous. The system would still keep the excitement of getting random blades. It's still going to be grindable this way, but it's going to make it a lot less frustrating for most people. A small increase to rare blade rates would go a long way towards making perfect runs feel a little less exhausting. Xenoblade 1 got ether jets as their new mode of transportation, so I'm very curious to see if Xenoblade 2 will get one as well. This is a wild concept, but imagine being able to ride Azurta in his Titan form. I guess he would have to be smaller if we use this on land, because he is quite big, of course. This would be an amazing exploration alternative to using fast travel, and would let you get to higher places a lot easier on his back, discovering some new treasure locations you might have missed. Comment below, do you think we will get some form of transportation in Xenoblade 2? Another area I don't expect them to touch, but I'd love if they really fix this, is field skills. Constantly swapping blades just to open a path or interact with an object is pretty annoying sometimes, and some of the field skill levels are extremely high. Even a small quality of life change such as reducing some of the level requirements would make exploration a lot more smoother. As I mentioned earlier, one thing that's confirmed is a new blade, with its own quest. Now, I will warn you that this segment will contain spoilers for Xenoblade 2's base game. I think it would be amazing if we had Jin and Malos added to the blade pool on New Game Plus playthroughs. Honestly, that brief moment where Jin was playable in Chapter 8 was so much fun. Jin is honestly my favorite villain in the whole series. Malos would also be absolutely broken and amazing if he was playable in New Game Plus runs, or maybe at least in this new mode. If they could be playable, that would be great. Both characters are fan favorites and they would be amazing for New Game Plus. Of course, we just talked about all the good things that could happen to the Switch 2 upgrade. Now let's talk about some potential concerns. Because the Switch 2 upgrade doesn't automatically guarantee improvements in every area. One downside can be the graphics. In the original, we did see a lot of graininess on handheld and unstable frame rates in combat. I really hope we get a good stable upscale, one that's better than what we saw in X. I also hope the frame rate is much more stable than it is in some parts of Xenoblade 1's and Xenoblade X's Switch 2 upgrade. Most of these are on handheld, and dock mode is supposed to perform better, but I hope the flaws are really minor and not something that makes things worse. So hopefully Monolith Soft takes a careful approach to making the game look really clean and run smoothly. Xenoblade 2 absolutely deserves a perfect upgrade. I can't wait to see places like Uriah or Lefteria get their Switch 2 upgrade. They're just gonna look so amazing in 4K. Alongside graphics, another issue is storage. Physical Switch 2 copies do cost more, but they don't use the extra space of the Switch 2 upgrade. If you do decide to get the Switch 2 upgrade digitally, it'll go from 30.7 gigabytes to 45.8. It does make a lot of sense logically that it will use a lot more space because they have a lot more things to render and also added content. However, it is a lot harder to have digital games with the Switch 2 upgrades. Due to the small size of the Switch, you will have to get micro SD cards, or you'll have to bite the bullet and pay a little bit more for the physical Switch 2 copy, which if this is your first time playing the game, you might want to go straight to the physical Switch 2 copy. This upgrade comes out digitally on July 30th and physically on October 1st. That's all for today. Subscribe for more Xenoblade content.